Thank you for viewing this brief webinar on the expenditure requirements for the Title IV Part A program, including recent changes in expenditure tracking and reporting of Title IV Part A funds. Title IV Part A, the Student Supports and Academic Enrichment Program, is intended to improve students' academic achievement by increasing the capacity of LEAs to provide all students with access to well-rounded education, improve school conditions for student learning, and improve the use of technology to improve academic achievement and digital literacy. Title IV-A has several requirements regarding the expenditure of funds. First, if an LEA receives an allocation of $30,000 or more, they must ensure that funds are spent in all three activity areas of the grant. The LEA must spend at least 20% of the allocation on activities supporting well-rounded education, 20% or more in activities supporting safe and healthy students, and some funds on the effective use of technology. Of the funds budgeted to the effective use of technology, no more than 15% can be spent on the purchase of technology equipment or infrastructure. LEAs that receive an allocation of less than $30,000 can choose to spend their funds across multiple areas or budget them all to a single activity area to more significantly impact that area. The 15% limit on technology funding for infrastructure still applies to these LEAs. There are many allowable activities that seem to overlap the three activity areas, and selecting the correct one matters when completing the funding application, tracking expenditures, and submitting the FER. Often, LEAs think of robotics equipment as technology and may be concerned about exhausting their 15% technology infrastructure limit on a robotics program. But robotics is actually a STEM expense that would fit better in well-rounded education. Teaching social-emotional learning and behavioral skills is listed under well-rounded education, but positive behavior interventions and supports is listed under safe and healthy students. There are many other examples to consider, and often the devil is in the details. For example, teaching online safety skills to help protect children from abuse and human trafficking could be part of safe and healthy students. But teaching digital literacy, such as how to find reliable online sources of information or use technology, would be supporting the effective use of technology. When coding your expenditures to activities, alignment with the correct activity is important. Please also note that there are no extra credit points for selecting more activities on the budget details page. Please limit the activity selection to those items that you are specifically funding with Title IV-A funds. Now that I've covered the basic funding requirements for Title IV-A, I'd like to address a couple of changes that are taking place for state fiscal year 2022. At the request of the department, the Auditor of State has changed the fund code for Title IV Part A from the generic code 599 that we had been using to a unique Title IV-A code. The new fund code for Title IV-A is code 584. All Title IV-A expenditures for state fiscal year 2022 and beyond should be grouped by the 584 fund code. You should continue to use the 599 fund code through state fiscal year 2021 and for the final expenditure report or FER due September 30th, 2021. ESSA and our federal reporting obligations require us to track Title IV-A expenditures by allowable activity area. Currently, we collect budget information on these three areas when LEAs submit their funding application. Starting on July 1st, 2021, LEAs will also need to track expenditures in each area. To begin tracking FY22 expenditures, the LEA should create a job code or similar unique identifier that enables them to track the expenditures to each of the three activity areas. To summarize the upcoming changes, starting on July 1st, 2021, when the LEA begins tracking FY22 expenditures, The LEA should track all Title IV-A expenditures under the new Fund Code 584. The LEA must also create a job code or similar unique identifier to track Title IV-A expenditures to each of the 3 activity areas of the grant. When completing the FY22 FER, which will be due September 30th of 2022, LEAs will be required to complete an additional page where they'll report expenditures for each of the 3 allowable activity areas of Title IV-A. This is a draft of the new FER screen. As you can see, there will be places to enter the expenditures for each activity area, and the system will display a total from those amounts. Of course, the total expenditures reported here should equal the total Title IV-A expenditures as reported on your final expenditure report. Thank you for viewing the latest Title IV Part A expenditure reporting updates. If you have questions about this information, please email your federal programs consultant. You can find their contact information in the CCIP address book.